Hey guys, I hope y'all are having a great week. So in our video tonight, I am going to talk to y'all about something that I have gotten a pretty good bit of feedback from you guys on about how I hung my cafe lights in my garden. So that's what I want to talk to y'all about in this video. And what we will start with is when I laid this stone patio, I knew right away that the cherry on top would be cafe lights. And I had always wanted them, but I had never had the opportunity to use them. And so what you need to do initially is start out by deciding the area that you want to use cafe lights in. Now, the area that I have mine in is about a 20-foot by about a 12-foot area. So it's not a huge space. And you can do it in a small space and it can make a big impact. So that's the first thing you need to do, is decide where you want your cafe lights. So after you've established where you want your cafe lights, the next thing I want to tell you about is the electric situation that I have here with mine. Somebody asked about that. So the only options I had for an exterior electric hookup were in my screened-in back porch, on the front porch, and in my garage. So we needed to come up with a better way to get electric hookup for these cafe lights. So my father-in-law came over and he used a receptacle that is inside of our bedroom, and he ran an electrical wire that has a weatherproof coating under the walkway, and it proceeds along the fence to a weatherproof outlet where I have my cafe lights hooked up. Now I want you to notice something. It's hooked up to an adapter that is a lifesaver. This adapter I got from Home Depot, I believe, and anything that is plugged into it is controlled with a remote control. Okay? Boom. So we can turn our cafe lights off from in our bedroom and we don't have to walk outside. So it is a lifesaver. You need to get that whenever you're thinking about doing your cafe lights, okay? One more little thing that I want to say about your electrical hookup is that if you have an outdoor plug, don't be afraid, if it would work for you, to use a long extension cord and just camouflage it. Plugged into this socket for my cafe lights, I also have my extension cord for my fountain. And it runs the whole length of the fence, and then we just dug a little trench underground and we spray painted it white so that it matches the fence. So that's always an option too. So when I decided to hang my cafe lights, I really wanted them to look as elegant and as nice as they could possibly look. And so I went with 10-foot poles from Home Depot, and I'll show you a picture of what they are. But the 10-foot pole accomplishes something very important, because if you go any shorter than 10 feet, then when your lights are actually hung and when your pole is actually in the ground about 1.5 feet, your lights are going to be hanging right over your head, which you don't want to do, because that kind of makes you feel claustrophobic, and it also just makes them look a little bit cheaply done. I think the higher that you can get them, the better. Y'all, let me just say this, okay? I'm not a savvy DIYer. I'm not. But where there's a will, there's a way. That is my motto. And so I got out here with post hole diggers and I dug the holes for these poles 18 inches deep, and I set concrete around these poles. And let me just tell you, if I can do it, you can do it. Okay, there's really not a great way for me to tell you how I did it, other than just to say I just poured a little bit of that Quikrete concrete into the hole. And used a stick and mixed in a little bit of water until it made a paste. And then I just let it set for several hours, however long the package told me to. And so I would say about 18 inches deep, because if the pole is 10 feet tall, then when you get it into the ground 18 inches, you've got 8.5 feet to work with. And if you allow for about 6 inches to a foot of slack with your lights, then you've got them at about a height of 7.5 feet, which I think is a really adequate height, because there's just not that many people who are 7.5 feet tall who are going to come over. And so these poles are from Home Depot, and they are spray painted black. And the reason that I spray painted them black is because, one, black details in the garden add an elegance, and also the black color makes them just totally blend into their surroundings. And all you notice are the cafe lights. So I used a brand called Hampton Bay. I got them at Home Depot. Each strand is 24 feet with about 24 lights, I think, on each strand. And I used 3 strands. Now comes a part that's a little bit tricky, and I had to channel my inner MacGyver. But I'm going to show you how to get a hook on top of the pole. Because now that you've got your poles in the ground, what you need is hooks. So there's a few things that I want to tell you about. This is called a hitch pin clip. I refer to it as a giant bobby pin, but it is a hitch pin clip. You can get these at any of your big box stores. This is an S biner, I think that's how you say it, but I don't know for sure. And then this is a bigger of the same thing. So, all right, what you're going to do is you're going to take the hitch pin clip and you're going to stick it with the wavy side out into the top of your pole. And then you will take one end of this and stick it like that, so that this end is available for your string lights. And how do you get this to stay in the pole, you ask? You need to have on hand a few packs of zip ties. And you fasten the zip ties just like this inside the grooves, and you tie them very, very tightly to the top of that pole, and it's not going to go anywhere. So at that point, when you've got it all secured with your zip ties, then you're ready to start stringing your lights. Okay, so there's one thing that I want to mention because I ran into a major headache. Where your strands of lights are connected, there's going to be a lot of weight on them. And so what's going to maybe happen is that weight is going to pull the 2 strands apart, and they're going to keep falling apart. So what you do is get 3 of your zip ties, attach 1 zip tie to the end of 1 string, attach another zip tie to the end of another string, zip tie, attach it to both of those strings, and then pull it tight. And this way, they're going to be able to withstand the weight and they won't fall apart. All right, y'all. Well, that's the video for tonight, and I hope that you found it enjoyable, and I hope that it was helpful for you, and I really hope that you will now create a beautiful, warm space in your own garden for your family to enjoy. And if you do, I want you to please find me on Instagram at MySouthernGarden2 and tag me in a photo. Okay? I can't wait to see it. Y'all have a great week. Talk to you next time.